Hello everyone and welcome to the Something Simple podcast. I'm your host Ashley, aka Bubsy3D, and I'm joined by Al, aka Chex Quest HD for the Nintendo Switch.
Oh wow, I'm the HD version. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
For any context, we were discussing Bubsy3D and for some reason Chex Quest.
For any context, stick around to the end of the episode for a special outtake where we talk about either Bubsy3D or Chex Quest.
Or both, I suppose.
Or both. He might put both of them in there. I don't know yet.
Yeah, but we should probably just deal with the elephant in the room. For anyone who has listened to us previously, there has been a bit of a restructure. We won't go into the specifics, but
we'll keep it respectful.
We are now two, and we are now the Something Simple podcast rather than the last name we were, which I won't go into because
name redacted. Name redacted.
But
just to preface that as well, going forward, this will be anything but simple.
Hey,
I've still got it. I'm Mr. Funny Man still.
Yeah, this is the reboot. This is the reboot.
This is the pilot. This is we're gonna play it incredibly safe. We're gonna get funding for our next episode, and then we're gonna talk about whatever we want to because that's how it works.
Yeah. So right now we're the Thing 2011 to the Thing 1982.
Yes.
And everyone knows that one is better, right? The 2011.
You didn't. I was going to say you didn't specify then which one you meant was better. I mean, this is completely off topic now. No. Well, we'll leave that as is. But funny enough, I've just realised that you bringing up the Thing completely off the cuff actually lends into the first news story we have pretty well.
Yeah, let's just go straight into the news, everyone.
Straight into the news. So the first news story we have is an official tweet from Edgar Wright himself that the Scott Pilgrim is getting an anime series on Netflix.
It's great.
That is pretty great, yeah.
There is another bit of that story.
Brian Lee O'Malley is set to consult on it. I don't know if he has any creative capacity. And for anyone that doesn't know,
get to the big bit. Get to the big bit.
Well, Brian Lee O'Malley's a pretty big bit. He wrote the fucking comic book.
He did, to be fair.
I think that's the biggest bit. If anything, he wrote it. There wouldn't be a Scott Pilgrim.
Everyone knows. No one cares about the original creator.
Oh God! Right. I thought we'd come back and we'd actually stop trying to alienate everybody in the industry like we did last time. No.
To be fair, it is pretty big stuff already.
But the entire cast of the original movie, the movie, is returning to voice their characters in the anime. So that would mean Michael Cera is back as Scott. My wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, is back as Ramona Flowers. Is back as my other wife, Ramona Flowers.
Wait, are they separate people?
I won't explain how that works. We're leaving.
We will not explain how your mind processes the information.
No, we'll just leave it at that. But that's pretty huge. The entire cast is coming back. I think they said that it's going to be more adventurous than a straight adaptation of the original books.
Yeah, they said it's going to be more than just a straight adaptation, isn't it? Well, the film is different because obviously the last book wasn't out.
The film varies. The fight with the twins is different in the comics. I've read the comic because
I've played the video game.
I'm hip and I'm weird and contrary. I hope they. Oh, I don't know. See, because I was going to say I hope they do the art style from the book, but at the same time, I kind of want to see something else.
Yeah.
I mean, animation is such a great medium that you can kind of just do whatever. And it will probably look great.
I'm trying to remember what the studio was that is working on it. Hold the line. I'm looking.
Hold the
Hold the line.
It would be great if we'd had like a producer to do all of this for us, wouldn't it?
Hold the line.
Hold the line.
Distract them. Distract.
Technical difficulties. We'll be back shortly.
Al, I'm going to need you to distract Kang.
This is this is a nuclear missile warning. The state of Hawaii will be hit by a nuclear missile in approximately. Remember when that actually happened?
No.
Yeah, there was like a text. There was like an early warning text. There was like a test, and they told everyone in Hawaii that they were going to get like struck by a missile without telling them it was a test, and that they'd all die.
What? That didn't know about that.
That's staying in the episode.
That is. He's distracting you. He's distracting Kang. So yeah, it's Science Saru. And their most notable work that I think is pretty big is Devilman Crybaby on Netflix. Like that's one of the big boy ones on Netflix that they have done. That's got a very good art style.
The original art style of the comic does kind of lend itself to being an anime already.
Well, yeah, it's a Western comic book designed to be like a manga. So.
Yes. I know what those words mean. I definitely watch the anime.
Yeah, you know what a manga is.
I know what a mango is, of course I do. It's a tropical fruit. I don't even know what countries they grow in. That bit can end right there, because I don't fucking know.
This is, again, anything but simple.
Anything but simple. So the next two news stories also go hand in hand. Firstly is Clayface will be in The Batman Part 2.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
I've seen everyone going, but he's gonna be grounded, he's just gonna be like a normal dude, and he's not gonna be Clayface. And then, counterpoint, Matt Reeves directed 2 movies where monkeys had guns and rode horses, and another movie, which is a found footage movie, where a big monster attacks New York City.
Yeah.
That man hasn't only ever made this single... This is the thing I don't understand. People look at like directors and they pick one film and go, that's their entire filmography.
Yeah. It's great. I love it.
Separate to this...
It makes it funny.
Oh, it does. And then separate to this is horror director Mike Flanagan, who's famous for doing the Haunting series, and he did Midnight Mass. Did Doctor Sleep? He's done a few other things. God,
he did do Doctor Sleep, didn't he? That I was about to say. I have not seen any of those, but I have seen Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. He has pitched a Clayface film to DC. I read the article for this one, and I do not know if this was something that is historically that he's pitched, or if it's something that goes hand in hand with the news.
Yeah.
But he's great at directing. Haunting of Bly Manor made me cry. Like a big little baby man. Those lesbians really brought out my emotions. Okay,
for someone who hasn't seen this, I don't know how to react to that one.
But
that out of context is a very strange sentence, I think.
Out of context, the lesbians gave me emotions. It's a pretty... But before we started, I found somebody did a fan mock-up of a poster for the Batman Part 2, including Batman and Clayface. And I've saved it to send into the chat now, so that you can give your reactions to it live.
Oh, Christ.
There we go. It should have sent.
No.
It's not in the episode chat.
No! What? What is that? Holy God!
I don't know if this is going to be something we can put in the episode, because I can't actually credit the person that created it, and also I think it looks like dog shit. But for
Who put my Batman figure in the microwave?
So to describe it, it's Robert Pattinson's Batman in the helmet, But it's not even like halfway down his face. It's about 2/3 of his face look like he's like taking a blowtorch to it and it's started to melt, implying that he's Clayface, but it just looks like silly putty. Okay. Right.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That was fantastic.
Batman. Yeah, that's not my Batman.
Sticking on the topic of Batman, Ben Affleck confirms Gal Gadot returns as Wonder Woman in The Flash. And to quote him, and this was spoilers when the story came out, but it's kind of not now, and we'll elaborate on that. I get saved by Wonder Woman. She saves me with the lasso of truth. And so what happens is that Batman divulges some of his real feelings about his life and his work. So
he's just going to reveal that he has always just wanted to kill everyone on Earth.
God.
But then he's like, wait, who will call me a hero if I just kill everyone?
I just go back to that edit that you made of Catman. That we can include in the visual version of this because you are the credit. We can credit yourself.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
But when I saw this news story and like his comments on it, I thought, okay, so Ben Affleck is just spoiling his entire contribution to this movie before it comes out.
Basically.
He also cited that this was his favorite scene in the movie.
Which,
doesn't, it just sounds a bit strange. But then, fast forward a couple of days, and there was another news story that this scene has been cut from the film.
It said it never even landed on the cutting room floor. Like, it never, I don't think they even wanted to use it, so they just got rid of it. I think.
I also, what has he got to? What do you mean his real feelings about his life and his work? It's just such a baffling statement to me.
Yeah, what is he gonna say?
What does Zack Snyder's
or are they not talking about Batman divulges his real feelings, but Ben Affleck himself? I have an Oscar.
Ben Affleck
for a movie that I directed.
Ben Affleck, the king of making films that you watch on an airplane on a transatlantic flight. No,
did they make a gangster film that one time?
Yeah, wasn't it called The Town? Jeremy Renner was in it.
Wait, no, what's the one I'm thinking of? Live by Night.
Huh?
Oh God, yeah. There's too many. There's too many.
He's making that film about Michael Jordan now.
Oh yeah, that actually kind of looks interesting.
I mean, from what I have seen of the things he's directed, he's a pretty good director. So
Argo was a really good film. I really enjoyed Argo.
He's just an awful Batman. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm going to upset by saying that statement, but there might be a segment in a later episode where I go into full detail about it.
Yeah,
depends how brave we are.
Yeah, we don't want that side of the internet to come for us.
No,
because
I don't want that hate. I'm not ready for it. On to the last, but no, there's actually two more news stories. Ignore that statement. But the next news story, E3 2023 has been cancelled. Big sad.
I mean, it was inevitable.
It was inevitable. This would seemingly just signal the end of E3 as an event.
Yeah. Was there an E3 last year? I can't even remember.
No, can I? So...
Because it was Summer Game Fest.
From the Something Simple podcast, rest in peace, entertainment... No, electronic entertainment... I don't know what it stands for. Rest in peace, E3. You never got to see Avatar 3... The one with the red Navi.
Avatar 3, Feel the Burn.
You would have loved to see Avatar 3. The big standout from this was that a lot of industry experts sort of were tweeting out about their memories about E3. And the one that I'm going to bring up now is from friend of the show, Jeff Keighley.
Oh no.
Basically tweeted out, "Oh, I'm sad that E3 is gone, but guess what? Summer Games Fest is on this year, so you can go and watch that."
I gotta say, I respect this.
I gotta say that well, he basically admitted in the tweet as well the whole reason he made Summer Games Fest was to kill E3.
I mean, he did it. He's
He
gone and
did
done
it.
it.
It
You
was kind of
crazy
obvious.
son of a bitch, you did it.
You did it. It's kind of obvious he was going to do it, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, was E3 the fact that we can't remember if E3 was even on last year? Who was even left at E3? Everyone had dropped out by like Ubisoft just sort of stick with it. You know,
Ubisoft just do shows whenever they feel like it.
Yeah. And they also don't show games they're apparently releasing that year.
No.
Mirage is still a Mirage.
Should that have released by now?
That was supposed to be coming out in like March, and then they just haven't announced anything.
No, that should have released, shouldn't it?
Yeah, nobody knows what's going on with it. There's a lot of like speculation there was going to be NFTs, but we won't go into that because that's a rabbit hole and a half.
We will move on.
Killed E3.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, yeah. Let's just leave it at that. Really inflammatory statement. We're just trying to offend everyone at this point, so we may as well.
Welcome.
I'm going to rearrange the orders of the news stories now, but we're going to take one that would seem close to your heart. We're going to bring something back that's sort of a leftover from the Name Redacted days.
Of course.
The Sonic social team proudly presents the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
A brand new Sonic game.
Available right now, in quotation marks, April 1st.
Okay, so a bit of context behind this. There was a tweet that came out. I think it was either just before April 1st or it was like just at April 1st because we're on different time zones. It's weird because I'm pretty sure it's Japanese. Sonic is owned by Sega, it's Japanese. So I think it was just before April Fools. They tweeted, "We've heard you. We're taking Sonic in a new direction." And that was it. That was the only tweet we heard. Nothing else. Everyone was like, okay, this is April Fools. And then they come out with this. The murderer of Sonic the Hedgehog. A free game. And then everyone was like, ha ha ha, very funny, very funny. And like Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter responded to that saying, haha, yeah, it's really funny, but here's the game, and literally link the Steam. It's a real game. It exists. It is an actual game.
That's the thing. Immediately when you sent this to me, I thought, I'm going to click on this Steam link, and it's not actually going to take me to a Steam page for the game. It's going to take me to like a Rickroll or something. And I'm going to go, ha ha ha, very funny, you got me, lol. But no, I clicked on it, and then it was an actual Steam link, and I don't know if I was more shocked at that. The fact that it's like a real game.
By the looks of it, for some reason, Sonic is like a boat captain, like a ship captain.
Yeah, but I briefly paid attention to the trailer. He's like a ship captain. It's like a visual novel.
That Knuckles has got his cowboy hat back. I don't know what's going on.
It's like Tails and Amy are both like trying to solve Sonic's mood. It just seems like such like a weird concept to like describe, especially after like the last Sonic game was like this big like open world, the first open world Sonic.
Yeah, the open zone Sonic game as they call it. But yeah, it's very funny to see them do this. I've always said that the Sonic the Hedgehog social team are on one. I mean, they do some amazing tweets.
I admire when a company does an April Fool's joke, as this seems to be, and like the April Fool's product that they've created is a real thing. Like
it's great.
I appreciate that because I see some of these things and they're like, "Ooh, April Fools, we're doing this and we're doing that." Haha, not really. And then I go, "Yeah, but wait, that's pretty funny." Like I want that. That would be funny, haha, to have it.
And half the time they do say things, and then you're like, "Wow, I actually want that pro. Give it like make that game or make that film or series." And they're like, "Nah, it's just a joke." Like, really?
Really? Why have you done this? And then on to the final news story. And once again, this is probably the most important news story, as we will save the best for last. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York star Donald Trump has been indicted on criminal charges. I tried my best to get through that without cracking up. Oh.
Everyone knows that's what he's most known for. He hasn't really done anything else, has he?
I like the use of the word star as if he's like the main point of that film.
It's
like
fantastic. It's great.
The countless times I've watched Home Alone 2, I've not watched it for Macaulay Culkin or Tim Curry or Catherine O'Hara. I've watched it for Donald Trump, for that less than 10-second cameo that he has in the movie.
The picture that they've used of him guiding that lost little boy, what a true saint.
What a true saint.
Is my desktop wallpaper. That's it.
Oh God.
Every time I look at it, I have the feeling I need to look behind me because that's where he's pointing, and I trust that man with my life.
I trust that man with my life. He's never done anything wrong, ever.
Ignore the fact that the headline is about him being indicted on criminal charges.
I'm sure that everyone listening to us will agree that Donald Trump is an absolute saint.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the second coming.
The Something Simple podcast brought to you by the American Republican Party. That is a complete lie, by the way, before anyone actually believes that. We don't align. For one thing, we're not American, and we don't align ourselves with any political parties on this podcast.
We're just here. We're having a silly, goofy time.
We're just here to have a silly, goofy time and to keep it real simple.
Woo! How many puns can we get of simple out before it gets old? Or has it already got old?
I don't think it'll ever be enough. I don't think it'll ever get old.
That's true.
Right. And with that, we have come to the end.
The end of the news. We've talked about what has been going on with the world of media, but what has been going on with us? What have you been up to, Al? What sort of media have you been consuming?
I mean, for anyone that keeps up with our Twitter, they can see that I have become the repository of all media.
The suppository of all media?
Oh, God. And that I just kind of watch everything.
You do. I'm baffled you have the time to watch the amount that you do. You bring up something to me and I just go, yeah, I need to watch that, and I just never get around to watching it. You say I need to watch that, and like an hour later, you're like, yeah, I watched it. You know what?
There's probably going to be too much for me to bring up between when we stopped with the last thing we did and when we came up with this.
Let's just go with some recent stuff you feel is noteworthy, rather than
I feel like we should. I'm gonna go back all the way to January now. I'm gonna take it back a little bit.
Oh shit!
This is something we can both talk about.
Fine.
Oscar-winning movie and pretty much best movie on the entire planet, Avatar: The Way of the Water.
Oh, bro.
Because we have to talk about it because it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. We have notably, during the entirety of our previous...
Oh, yes, our entire break, we have Yes, well, I feel like, we should... We
have completed our character arc, and
the two biggest Jim Cameron haters on the planet have been reformed.
Yeah. Something simple, or how I learned to stop worrying and love James Cameron.
Batman is the goddamn Iron Chef of Avatar.
Mate, honestly, the respect I have just looking back at like all of the stuff he's done after I've gone in and like after I watched Avatar, the first one again, first Avatar 1.
We both rewatched the first one pretty close to going to see the second one, didn't we?
We did, to be fair. I think I watched it like 2 days before.
And I think like we both spoke to each other about seeing the first one again.
Yeah.
And we were like, why did we ever not like this film? Because it's just it's just a good film.
Because you messaged me first because you were going to watch Way of the Water. Because you're like, I want to watch it. I'm going to go watch it. You watched the first one. I remember you messaging me like, why did I not like this? This is like everything that I like.
I was like, why did I dislike this first movie? Because it's just a sci-fi film. It's just a sci-fi action film. It looks beautiful. It still looks beautiful today.
Fantastic looking film.
But then I went to see Avatar 2, and I think my entire worldview just changed on that day.
Yeah.
I became an agent of the Avatar agenda, so to speak.
Because I think you saw it on it was like a Tuesday or like a Wednesday during the week or something.
Yes.
Because I remember getting a message off you, and then on that Friday I watched the first Avatar, and I was like, yeah, this is okay. I like this.
This is pretty fun.
And then watching that second one then was on the Saturday. I watched it like the day after, and I was blown away. Like I had so much fun in that cinema. Like I went to go watch it in 3D. I think 3D did a disservice, to the visual effects, because
I didn't watch it in 3D. I watched it in
because the 3D seemed to have some sort of motion smoothing on some things, and I was like, okay, it seems that way. But I was like, this is a fantastic looking film. It looks real.
I think the big highlight that I said to you was like, I couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't real.
No, the best example of that is the hand shot. The hand shot, we debated that for so long until I finally sent you that video of Corridor Crew explaining what happened. Where the hand part is like the only real part of that, and the rest of it is fake, which is insane.
I think I brought it up to you again this week because it came out on digital at the start of this week, so clips have started surfacing on Twitter. Like, the fact that the visuals of that movie have survived Twitter compression.
Yeah, nothing ever survives Twitter compression.
It's absolutely crazy.
That's where visual effects go to die. But it's fantastic. It is a technical marvel.
And I'm imagining we could just talk about how much of a technical marvel it is until the cows come home. But it was also just like a really good film. It was
a very, very good film.
I think I saw someone talking about it this week, which is weird because I haven't seen anyone talking about it for ages. And they hit the nail on the head. I can't remember who it was. I think it was just a random tweet I saw. They hit the nail on the head about why it's such a good film. It's because the stakes aren't saving the world. It's not like some world-ending catastrophe. It is just two dudes that absolutely fucking hate each other. Just spending nearly 3 hours trying to kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah. It's great.
The stakes are literally from a planet perspective of the planet Pandora. The stakes are fucking non-existent.
Yeah, it's literally I want to kill this one family.
It literally is just it is just the clone of Colonel Quaritch from the first movie coming back and going, I want to kill Jake Sully, all of his children, and his wife, and it is that for 3 hours.
Yeah, and they're all dripped out. That one with sunglasses.
all of the Na'vi, the recombinant Na'vi soldiers have drip.
They do. Fantastic. Why did more of them not have sunglasses?
That is a good question. I think the next thing to bring up that I watched, because we'll probably go in order now from the things I watched, it's probably The Last of Us. Big television show from HBO, big budget adaptation of 2013 video game The Last of Us Part 1.
I haven't played it. Haven't seen it.
He hasn't played it. He hasn't watched it. For anyone that follows our Twitter, I tweeted about every episode. So
you did. You tweeted. You are on the ball when it comes to tweeting. If you guys want to see any opinions on media, go to our Twitter and
our Twitter.
Just look at those tweets.
It'll be linked. It'll be linked somewhere.
It will be somewhere. if I'm
So
good at managing our marketing.
my thoughts are pretty well documented on this show, but to give like the cliff notes of it, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was really weird to just see just a video game adaptation done so well. Like you just kind of forget that it was a video game watching it.
Yeah.
It,
Like
it just
I
it,
had people that I spoke to who haven't had any experience with the game and they loved the show.
But I will say that the show was at its best when it was being original.
You think?
Yeah, the episode about Bill, that was one of the most quality pieces of television I've ever watched in my life.
Better than The Sopranos?
Oh, get out of here! Nothing's better than the gabagool. I apologize already.
The Mushroom
like,
Kingdom!
here we come. Mario's gonna get fucking whacked by Tony Soprano. But so yeah, like, God, it's derailed. The show was better when it was covering like original stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I can understand that. I suppose it's because if you've seen those things, it's already done. Like, you're just doing things I've seen.
the theme with the things I've watched, as well as will become apparent when I move on to the next thing, is just going to be Pedro Pascal protecting what appears to be a child with some sort of special quality. But it is to say that I think this year's Emmys, they are both going to win Emmys for this. Especially Bella Ramsey. I think Bella Ramsey is better than Pedro Pascal in this, and I'm probably going to catch flack for that. But I think she's just doing a better job.
But bro, there's no TikTok edits. All the Pedro Pascal TikTok edit.
She hasn't got any fan cams. Nobody's doing fuck, marry, kills of Bella Ramsey. They're all doing it of Pedro Pascal. I feel so sorry for that man. Leave him alone.
I mean, he's fantastic though. He seems like such a funny dude.
He does take it very well. I will commend him for it.
He does take that shit on. Wasn't there like an SNL sketch where
he talks about the fan cams?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something like that.
That was pretty great. The next thing is the next Pedro Pascal project where he protects a small child. It's The Mandalorian, and oh boy, do I have some pretty up and down thoughts about this season of The Mandalorian.
You have explained this so much to me.
The first episode I thought was okay. It was fun. It was great to get something after Andor. I believe I've talked about Andor on the podcast before because I think it was out before we went on our break. It might not have been, but just to recover it in case it wasn't. I thought Andor was fantastic. Andor is one of the best pieces of Star Wars content we have ever had, and every single TV show should strive to be as good as it. And then we move on to The Mandalorian season 3. It was nice. It was nice in the first episode to get back to something that had the tone of The Mandalorian after Andor, because Andor was very serious.
Yeah,
it was nice to have man in laserproof suit fly around in his space muscle car and blow people up. It was fun. And then we got to episode 2, and not much happened, and it was basically just fan service for Clone Wars and Rebels fans. And I was like, yeah, okay, but where's his show? This is his show. I've watched all the other shows. It's his show. Focus on him, please. And then I didn't tweet about episode 3 because I thought it was absolutely dog shit. To explain what happens in episode 3 without spoiling it too much, The Mandalorian isn't in it. It's pretty much like that episode of the Book of Boba Fett where Boba Fett isn't in it, but it focuses on a completely random character that we've seen about 15 minutes of in the first 2 seasons. And it's really boring, and I hated it. It was basically trying to be Andor if Andor was bad. That is my opinion. Yeah.
Jeez.
And
are we trying to anger everyone today?
No, I'm gonna Mandalorian. I feel like I need to go over it. Episode 4 I thought was really good then. And I'm gonna sound like a bit of a hypocrite because there was a pretty big cameo in episode 4. spoiler alert for anyone listening. If you want to skip ahead, probably about, I don't know, maybe a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Ahmed Best was in the episode as Jedi Master Kelleran Beck. It's a role that he played in some like little game show thing. Absolutely great to see him in Star Wars again. That's why I liked it so much. Like,
yeah, that man was put through the ringer, and I'm glad. I'm glad they put him in.
That's why seeing his name in like the credits of that episode, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then we moved on to what would have been the most recent episode of The Mandalorian, where the quote unquote glup shito allegations really came to a head. Because once again, spoiler alert for The Mandalorian, the most recent episode, if you want to skip ahead about 30 seconds, Zeb from Rebels was in the episode. And
yeah, I've seen
most people. One thing, it was really difficult to just find images that weren't that one picture that I've tweeted of the character.
Yeah.
For the episode, and then I just like everyone else was like, "Oh my god, we're so excited! Look at this! Wow, wow, wow!" And I just went, "Ah, fuck's sake!" That was my exact reaction, and I think my reaction to The Mandalorian has been like that because, as I said, Andor was fantastic. And Andor was made by a person, Tony Gilroy, who admitted he had no prior knowledge to Star Wars. And he came along and he made the best piece of modern Star Wars content we have.
Yeah, but as we know, you can't have screws and bricks in Star Wars.
And then... And I'm going to do something that isn't right because I have really... And I'm going to do it for the next thing I watched as well because it's another Star Wars thing. I'm going to shit on Dave Filoni.
Oh, shit. Whoa, whoa. Cut this out. Editor, get rid of this.
Dave Filoni has reached a point now in Star Wars where you need to have an encyclopedic knowledge of Star Wars to enjoy anything that he makes. You cannot jump into a piece of Dave Filoni Star Wars without going, it's the Leo pointing meme, without going, whoop, I know who that is. He's background actor number 625 from A New Hope. It's ridiculous. It has got to a ridiculous point.
Okay, so we've had to have a bit more of a restructure. It's just me now. Al said some heinous stuff to offend a lot of people, so that's it. It's me now. It's just me.
No, the Star Wars fans, they're coming through my window. It's Club Shito himself! They're taking me away!
I know you want to go on to more Star Wars, but I'm going to stay on the theme of Pedro. Pedro Pascal, or Pedro as I call him, because we are best friends, and I'm on first name basis with him. I watched a film with him in, and he was a joy to watch in it, and it was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage. I had such a fun time with that film. Do you know when those films, like, you're like, yeah, this is kind of like a generic sort of feel to it, but at the same time, it's the experience was just so fun. I think what really elevated it for me was Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage. Their chemistry was something else. There were points where I was actually laughing out loud at some things that were happening, and I don't find myself laughing out loud at films that often. And it was great. Fantastic.
We're going to bring back some old lore to the podcast now, and we're going to highlight something that I do quite often, where this is a film that I own on DVD and have not watched.
Yeah, I have a few of those too. To this day, I still have not watched Ghostbusters Afterlife.
To be fair, it's out on Amazon Prime now as well, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Jesus Christ! Oh, I've had my miles back.
No, not Afterlife.
Oh, yeah, The Unbearable Weight. Yeah,
that's on.
That's where I watched it. Yeah, that's where I watched it.
I probably will watch it at some point.
It's good. It's a good fun time. Like, I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking, but it is such a fun watch.
What do you mean? It's become a TikTok meme.
I mean, that moment I did do the Leo pointing during that moment.
That's the TikTok meme.
And it's still it baffled me because I'm used to hearing it with one song, and that song was just not there.
Is that not actually part of the film?
No, it's not part of the film at all, and it completely threw me off. I was like, wait, what? What? Where's the song?
Okay,
I'm young. I must do a TikTok.
I must do a TikTok. That's what all the kids are doing. That's how you become popular.
Lollipops.
Lollipops. That man knows what it sounds like when you stab somebody.
Lollipops.
Saruman the Stinky.
Saruman the Silly.
Saruman the Wrinkly. Stop it. I'm gonna dive back into that expansive well now that is Star Wars. And I'm gonna do this very quickly. Bad Batch Season 2 got one tweet because it was shit. Everything that happened in it was awful. I think my exact quote was, having one or two great episodes mixed with mediocre filler does not make a good show.
Yeah.
Scathing. It's a lesson that I thought Dave Filoni would have learned, because the first season of Clone Wars is pretty much all filler. All of his filler stuff is really bad, and I thought he would have just learned a lesson at this point. Just focus on, make things shorter, focus on the action. And he just doesn't.
Make it shorter, make it to TikTok.
Make it a TikTok. Dave Filoni, start making Star Wars TikToks. That's all you need to do. And I will now move on to the final thing that I have consumed recently that is noteworthy. It's a film I went to see this week on my own. And that is John Wick Chapter 4. My God, it was absolutely fantastic. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, because we were going to watch it, but we ended up watching something else, which is something that we will talk
about in length. The exact reason that we didn't go see John Wick is because on the day that we were meant to go and see, the day before we were meant to go see John Wick, Ash got home from work and I got the exact message that was, I don't know if I can watch 3 John Wick films before we go and see John Wick.
My history of John Wick is that I've seen bits and pieces of all 3, but I've never seen them in their entirety. I've never seen a John Wick movie all the way through from start to finish. And so I needed to watch the 3 of them, and I was like, right, I can watch 3 tonight. Yeah, I think they're all on Prime. So I was like, fine, I'll do this. I'll get home, I'll put on John Wick, and I'll just watch all of them. I got home late, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
To hover on that point of you saying that you've seen bits and pieces on them, there's a YouTuber I watched that has never watched Jurassic Park in its entirety.
Jeez, wow.
And has only seen it in bits and pieces. They've probably seen the entire film, but they've not seen it in sequence.
As someone who is bad at watching things, I understand, maybe to a degree.
I've become terrible at watching. This is why I like going to the cinema again now. I've become terrible at watching things at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm bad.
I'll pick up my phone and I'll end up on, oh lo and behold, TikTok.
Yeah.
And then I'll she's like, ooh, look at all these short, 6-second videos, the bite size. Ooh, my attention span is non-existent. But yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you watched it, but I did share probably the best action scene. For anyone that's seen the film, they will know what I'm talking about right now, but it's in the 3rd act of the film. Add 1 body to John Wick's body count, because I died and went to heaven watching that.
I gotta say, I did watch that scene that you sent. My God, that's good. That's good stuff.
I remember them because they did. Chad Stahelski and Keanu Reeves did an interview about it.
Yeah,
and the interviewer was like, "Oh, it's very Hotline Miami. Have you played Hotline Miami?" And Chad Stahelski just went, "No."
Oh.
But he cited another video game that was very similar. He cited the Hong Kong Massacre.
What?
Oh God, we're not getting broadcast in China now, are we?
No. Okay, but continue.
But the Hong Kong Massacre it's another top-down sort of twin-stick shooter.
I actually haven't heard of the Hong Kong Massacre.
I've heard of it, but
I got really concerned when you brought that up. I was like, whoa.
It's sort of inspired. It's very Hotline Miami-ish, but it's apparently really inspired by John Woo movies.
Okay.
I've never seen a John Woo movie. I know who he is, and I I know the kind of things he makes, but I never.
I've seen some of Face Off. And
I
he did a Mission Impossible, the worst Mission Impossible, because they just tried to.
That was a trailer.
Box.
That was a trailer during John Wick. Oh,
Well, Mission Impossible.
Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Bro, that man driving bike.
It is. That's because that's in the trailer. It's alarming in that trailer how long he waits, because he doesn't pull the parachute in the trailer, and that scene goes on quite a while. And I was getting a bit concerned. I was like, Tom, you need to pull the chute now.
Because watching the behind the scenes of that is insane. He just goes, he does it once, and he's like, I think I can hold on to the bike longer. You're like, excuse me.
I find it absolutely baffling that sort of the two biggest action stars in Hollywood are both men who are nearly in their 60s.
Well, no, one of them is in their 60s. One of them is 60 years old.
Keanu Reeves is 58. Tom Cruise is 60.
It's crazy.
It's baffling. It's absolutely crazy.
Tom Cruise is on a mission, but it is very possible to kill himself. He is going to do it at some point.
That's what the last one's called. It's not called Dead Reckoning Part 2. It's Mission Possible. Tom Cruise is dead. I choked. I choked telling that joke. Jesus. I believe that's it for me on everything that I've kind of watched recently.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go to games, and there is one game that I have gotten into recently, and I blame you. I blame you. It's taking over my life. I found myself getting up this morning. I was like, I need to log in. It's Destiny 2. Al has been big into Destiny for how long now, Al?
Well, I played the original one not very much, so that would have been, 2014?
Yeah, because I played the original.
Destiny 2 launched in 2016, and I have played it pretty much non-stop since it launched.
Yeah, so
I think I've taken like one break over the entire time it has been out.
Yeah,
but other than that, no.
You said no. What was it? You were talking about it, and then I started seeing clips of it, and there was one clip, and I was like, I have to get it. It was the fact that you can get a cowboy hat.
Yeah, and like you can't even like blame me. That's the thing, because the thing that actually inspired you to start playing Destiny 2 was you saw a TikTok of the cowboy hat, and you were like, oh, I need to play Space Western,
shooting in space.
The Funslinger, as you are actually called.
The Funslinger, my official title.
My official. I'll have you know that's my official title.
You shall refer to me as such. But yeah, I've been playing that a lot recently. I've had friends who have messaged me while I'm playing it, just like, "Oh God, do you need my help? Do you need me to send someone?" There was someone who said, "Good luck," and "What have you done?" and things like that. I have many people concerned for my health. But fuck it. The arbitrary numbers keep going up, and I'm happy.
He's happy. He's really hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah, it is. It's fun though. It's a good time. It is just a fun game to play.
I too have been playing Destiny, but I didn't think it was worth bringing up because guess what? That's nothing new.
It isn't new, but I thought I'd go into it because I'm
always playing Destiny.
You're always plugged in. You're always. How are you always playing Destiny and consuming every bit of media that comes out? How is this happening?
I actually have an Einstein-Rosen bridge hidden under my bed so I can travel through time.
Is this just the plot of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban? Are you Hermione?
She had a time turner. That shit was ass. I've got an Einstein-Rosen bridge. I'm super serious about it.
Well,
there is one thing before we move on to today's big discussion that I think I should bring up. And it'll be too late for anyone listening to this by the time that the episode's actually out.
Yeah.
But as of today, the Griddy is back in the Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I bought it.
You fucking... Oh no!
Leon's doing the Griddy, baby.
Oh my god. That's an insane bit of stuff as well. Fortnite. That's just everywhere. It is.
I thought that was an April Fool's joke when they said that the Griddy was back in.
Fuck's sake.
This episode is like severely dated now, but
yeah,
I don't care. I don't care. We'll get it. We'll get it out in a reasonable turnaround, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not,
we saw how our hiatus went.
That's not like us at all. No. Yeah. Just look at how our hiatus went in the nicest terms possible.
Ooh.
But that's me done.
Yeah, I'd say I've talked about some things that I've consumed that I would like the internet to know about. The rest of it, you shall speculate.
The rest of it, if you want to know what I've consumed, you can just check our Twitter, because the chances that I will have tweeted about it.
Yeah, and if you want to know our Twitter, it is something simps. You're welcome.
Something simps. We are massive simps. If you have watched anything
for something.
For something.
But I can tell you what I'm a simp for. Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods.
Let's go fight somewhere empty. I tweeted that in. I tweeted that image, but the only reason I tweeted it, I didn't tweet it because I was trying to be mean-spirited. I tweeted it because there was genuinely no one at our showing. Yeah, so this is our Shazam section, and there was no one in our cinema. Yeah, no one in our screen. I think everyone avoided that screen. Like they knew that they knew that the Something Simple boys. Oh god, that doesn't paint us in a good light at all. They knew that we would be there, so they allowed us a private screening because we're such bigwigs in the media community. Yeah, we're basically press insiders at this point. It wasn't that Shazam 2 is doing absolutely fucking abysmally at the box office. No, because it's the biggest movie of all time. Shazam Sweep. Hashtag Shazam Sweep. Why is it so hard to say Shazam Sweep? Because it's the alliteration. So we had a private screening, so we kind of got to do a little bit of commentary whilst we were in the film. We did, which we would never usually do in the cinema. No, we would never talk in the cinema. I'm a very respectful cinema goer. Yeah, but there was literally no one the three people sat behind me in John Wick Chapter 4. Oh, fuck you guys. Were they talking through the entire thing? And I wasn't even that mad. I was kind of just upset for them, because who the fuck pays £12 for a cinema ticket and then just talks through the whole movie? Oh no! I wouldn't even say we had an empty screen and we made some passing comments to each other, but most of the time we were fairly silent watching the film. I mean, it was just a fun movie. That's basically our thoughts on it. It's a fun movie. So we're going to talk about it in just a general sense first, and we'll go into spoilers. Because if anyone wants to see this, you should have seen it by now. You should support it. What you should do is you should wait for this episode to finish, because I'm not going to advocate for you for turning this off. We need the views. Please stick around. please stick around. We may have the same amount of viewers as Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods by the end of So, but then once you've listened to this episode and you've heard the lovely things we have to say about Shazam 2, maybe go and see it yourself. Go watch movies. Because it's always important to form your own opinions on things as well. Yes. Don't follow the hive mind, which I think. Don't go on Twitter and look at what everyone's saying about this movie and then decide, yes, I'm not going to go see it, because pretty much everything that people are saying on Twitter is untrue. I mean, I think Twitter skewed our view on Jim Cameron for a long time. Every day on Twitter is April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
because everyone tweeting is just a bunch of clowns, myself included.
yeah. Basically, we're all clowns. But yeah. So, general thoughts on the movie.
It was fun. It was fun.
Actually, surprisingly funny as well. There were some moments where I was actually like, "This is good shit."
Something we said to each other after it finished, and something that I also put in my review, was that like it's nice to see a superhero film that's actually funny for once.
Yeah, I don't know what it was that was different about this one, but it seemed like maybe there were just more jokes, but like it seemed like a lot more jokes landed.
It was a very charming film.
Yeah, it had that charm to it.
It had charm. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. The character, I liked all the characters. I don't think there was a character that I didn't like in the film.
I mean, like,
I have some things to go into.
Keep some things I have to say about probably the spoilers.
But also, it's a charming and funny film, but it is not afraid to show anyone getting fucking bodied. My God, there is one scene. This one it's not even a main character. It's a random person. They survive like this whole ordeal, and next thing you know, they're just like dead. Like whoa, what?
Like there are people getting the ever-loving shit beaten out of them in the story.
Yeah, there was some parts of this film as well with the main characters, and it felt like really visceral. Some of the fights felt really. I was like, Jesus Christ!
Mm-hmm.
I
kind of vaguely remember that about the first film as well.
Yeah,
there were bits in the first film.
There was that scene in in the boardroom, wasn't it? Where he summons the sins. That's it. And yeah, just that's like a horror scene. That was pretty good.
And then he throws that man out the fucking window.
Yeah.
I mean,
boom.
I'm happy to spoil Shazam once that film's been out.
Yeah, but yeah, imagine that scene.
Imagine every action scene in a movie being that scene.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty much how visceral it was.
There were some scenes as well where there's like the horror, like that was like its horror scene in Shazam 1. And then there are some scenes that were very reminiscent of like the horror-y vibe that I got in Shazam 2 as well.
It's kind of understandable how David F. Sandberg has now said that he kind of wants to go on and direct a horror movie.
Yeah, you can see that. Definitely watching some of the scenes in this, you're like, yeah, you'd be pretty well suited to do it.
Yeah.
I think it was a good fun time.
I think it's hard to talk about the film earnestly without actually talking about what happens in the film, other than beyond the scope of it was fun and I enjoyed it.
I can say
funny.
Yeah. One other non-spoiler is that the villains wasn't a fan so much of the villains.
No,
they were kind of generic villains, but I think just the charm of the film still sort of overcame that.
Yeah. I suppose really we can kind of expand on the villains a bit with the spoilers, but it's something that I have said publicly before. I don't know, but it's kind of baffling that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wouldn't be in this movie.
Yeah.
He picked to play the main villain for Shazam.
Yeah. Literally the guy who has the same powers as Shazam.
And realistically, we are never going to see
Zachary Levi kick the shit into the Rock.
I mean, I did want to say that, but then I realized that realistically, we might see Zachary Levi kick the shit into the Rock because those two look like they fucking despise each other.
Yeah, there was that video from it was like a con last year. Was it Comic-Con last year?
It was Comic-Con last year.
And they just, oh my god, the hatred in his eyes. He was like, I want to kill this man.
I also don't know. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I'm going to bring it up now. Okay. Asher Angel, who is the actor for Billy Batson, he's not in this film a lot.
No, he doesn't show up much at all.
Like,
which is a shame because he's a good actor.
It is. He is a good actor.
He's good as Billy, but I think that's always an issue that there has been with the Shazam films, is that Billy and Shazam feel like two different characters at times.
Yeah, like,
I think
it's very apparent in this film. They do feel like
you can sort of understand a kid like coming out of their shell when they know like nobody knows it's me. I've got superpowers. Nobody cares. Like, but it gets to the point then where you are like, okay, there is a disconnect. But I feel like you don't feel it ridiculously loads in this because you don't see Billy all that often.
No, he is genuinely only in a handful of scenes. Like, you can count on one hand.
Yeah, that dude tall as well.
Yeah, he's like pretty much built like Zachary Levi at this point. So
it is just a man turning into another man at this point.
Yeah,
but you know, it's not as jarring because he isn't in it a hell of a lot.
No, I just thought I'd bring it up because it's kind of just how it is.
Yeah. But what else can we talk about? I'm trying to remain away from spoilers for everyone. The suits. I love the suits. Don't like the little silver things.
No, as I said this to you, is that I thought they were like, when they were done for photos, I thought they were like leftovers from like CG testing as like reference marks. And then they kind of just ended up on the actual suit. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Good suit. I like the suit.
Other than that, the suits are pretty fantastic, aren't they? And that goes for the whole Shazam family.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Or one in particular.
Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. I've done it on this episode, but you can't.
Why can't I do it?
Because you're the civilized one out of us. I'm the animal.
No, we're not doing this again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what else we can talk about. So do you want to go into spoilers?
Yes. So for anyone who does not want to hear spoilers,
we will.
Ash is going to put a time code in the YouTube version of this.
And hopefully the Spotify version and the audio version. I love the way I just said Spotify. That is like our primary one. No advertisement. Yikes. The audio version.
We're not paid by anyone to do this. We do this for fun. I didn't know if that was something you could do on audio services. That's why I didn't commit you to it.
Yeah, I could put it in. If I can't get it, if you can't see it on the little bar, it'll be in the description. So
cool. There we go. So we're into spoilers now. I hope everyone's gone away because we're going to talk about what happens in this film.
Yeah, the first really important thing that we need to bring up: Freddy got Riz.
Freddy got
Riz.
But technically, Freddy's got negative Riz. It's a form of Riz, but it's negative. But that man still bagged the girl by being silly and goofy. He just liked me for real.
It's like I said, you know, there's that person who has just like the unexplained Riz, and you're like, what? How does this happen? I kind of felt like that with Freddy, but you can understand why someone would actually like this person.
A lot of the comedy in this film does come from Freddy.
Yeah, that honestly fantastic. There was one bit where where he sort of forgot to tell the girl his name, and as she was walking off, he just goes, "Freddy."
Yeah,
it was the most out of the blue shit, and it's like so simple, but it was just something really funny.
Also, another thing I have to bring up related to Freddy is why do people still bully him?
Yeah. I don't
that motherfucker brought Superman to school, and in the current standing of the DCE, Superman is a fucking psychopath.
Literally. The two bullies in the first one are still in this one, still doing their bully shit. And
except now this kid brought Shazam and Superman to school.
Yeah, that I really I was like, huh? What? But yeah, so we'll go into actual spoilers now.
Spoilers now.
So we'll go basic plot summary. So we'll go through the powers that Shazam has. One of them is Atlas's powers, and the daughters of Atlas, they want that power back.
They want
and
that
they
power
want
back.
What was it? The seed of something.
The seed of the tree of life.
Yes,
that is.
it was.
I believe that is the name of the Doomsday MacGuffin in this movie.
It was called seed of something, wasn't it? But it was the seed of the tree of life.
The tree of life, yes. It was.
They want that because they want to regrow the tree back in the God realm.
In the God realm, to restore the God realm.
And make it beautiful again and all that.
Yeah.
And they want the powers of their father Atlas back because it was stolen by the wizards and held in the staff that give Billy his powers that Mr. Wizard has.
That is a very good, concise summary of the plot.
Yes. So these villains...
Adjacent to that as well is that Billy is suffering from massive imposter syndrome doing this movie.
He feels like he doesn't deserve these powers and he can't keep the family together.
That's the big driving force behind everything he kind of does in this movie, is that he doesn't feel worthy of being Shazam.
No, he doesn't. But I think that is a really interesting idea, because if you were just given this power saying you're someone who's pure of heart and you well, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't deserve this. It also people.
To be fair, it doesn't help that sort of feeling that he has. Is the wizard is just a massive asshole and sort of chastises him for everything he does wrong when he doesn't tell him that these are things he shouldn't do. Yeah,
because the wizard literally just turned to dust after, and bro, excuse me.
Yeah, because the whole thing that sort of kicks off this movie is that the daughters of Atlas, they find the broken staff from the first movie that Billy snapped in half at the end. So
Savannah couldn't use it.
And then they take it and they need to reforge it. But it turns out that was the barrier between Earth and the God realm, and that he shouldn't have snapped it in half. But it's not something he was ever told. And then everyone really chastises him for it, even though it's something that he's never told.
Yeah, and I can understand why Billy just feels like, I shouldn't be in this role because I'm clearly doing everything wrong, even though he's never told what to do, and everyone's like, why the fuck do you do that? You're like, bro,
leave this kid alone.
Yeah, he is a kid at the end of the day. He's 17, because they do say in the film they're going to be 18 soon.
In a couple months.
Yeah. And yeah, leave this kid alone. God damn it. He's been through enough. Stop.
Stop
it.
Stop. So sort of the Shazam family, as we've sort of touched on, they're kind of all just not really doing things together.
No.
It becomes pretty apparent, it is shown a bit in the film, that Freddy is kind of just going off and being his own superhero.
Yeah, there are
Captain Every Power.
Yeah, and he the first big superhero scene is trying to stop a collapsing bridge and saving people on a collapsing bridge, and he is trying to keep everyone in their lane. Right, we're going to do this, and you can see that when they work as a team, they're pretty good. But there are people who are trying to stray away and do their own thing, such as Freddy calling himself Captain Every Power and calling Shazam Captain Every Power Junior.
Power Junior. Yes.
So yeah, that first scene, you can see that they work well as a team, but then it cuts to the part where the bridge is just utterly destroyed. They've saved everyone, but the bridge is fucking decimated.
It's gone.
Done. Yeah, it's non-existent.
It's in the famous Schuylkill River. See.
Why do I find that name so funny?
That Frank Reynolds once stole a boat on and kept hostage a group of Chinese tourists, and then told them that most of the unsolved murders in Philadelphia were probably at the bottom of the Schuylkill River. A fantastic episode of Always Sunny, but not on. It's something I joked about as we watched the film. So.
Yeah. The Philadelphia references, because they're in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So And the other character that kind of just doesn't want to seem to be a part of the Shazam family is Mary.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose she kind of does, but at the same time, she wants to get on with her life.
Her life.
She said she's got her job. She wants to meet people her age.
By this point, Mary she's aged out of the foster system, so to speak. She is now 18 years old. When she becomes a superhero, she is just
herself.
Mary. She's just Mary, which doesn't do wonders for your secret identity. And it's kind of weird how their foster parents hadn't noticed that they were all.
Although it does bring a fantastic joke about you don't think Wonder Woman just wears glasses and ties her hair back and goes, what was it, to be an accountant or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good joke. I was like,
I love that.
I love
that joke. To be fair, I love like when people explore the Superman effect.
Yeah.
It's always done really well in comics because comic artists, they draw Clark and Superman differently. Like they draw their postures differently and everything. And also people just assume that Superman just lives in the fortress. And it's just Superman all the time. But that's beside the point. That's not anything to do with
it. It's a different superhero.
Different superhero, but same explanation.
Yeah. But yeah, she's aged out of the foster system, so she said she has to go to work. Billy's like, why would you want to work? You're a superhero. And she's like, I'm out of the foster system. I've got to help pay for the house, for rent.
I need to contribute.
Yeah, because otherwise they could just kick me out because they're struggling to deal with everyone and the expenses because the foster system will stop providing after you turn 18.
Yep.
So that's also really not helping with Billy's mental health.
His self-esteem,
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really good to see that being a superhero is fun and all that, but God, it does take a toll. And for a fun film like this, really makes you feel fucking hell. Jeez, this is a tough job.
There are some weighty themes, which is a really weird thing to say about a Shazam movie.
Yeah, but I've always felt that when you have such a light-hearted feeling movie as this, when you have that scene that really does explore it, you do feel it more, and you realize the sort of undertones throughout the light-hearted stuff. But yeah, some of it really hits hard. So
I believe I think the next big plot point is then Freddy and Anne. I think Freddy that's next, isn't it?
Anne. So we'll go on to Freddy and Anne. So there are 3 villains in this movie. There is Calypso, Anthea,
and Helen Mirren.
Oh, see, this is the thing with the villains. It's a Greek god. Fuck.
Isn't it? Oh God, isn't it Despera?
Hespera. That's it. We've done it. Memorable villains, everyone.
Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
The most memorable villains in the Shazam repertoire.
As opposed to, Black Adam.
Black Adam. A man that exists in the cinematic universe as well.
Yeah, well, we can go into that a little bit later.
A little bit later.
Yeah, so there is this girl in school who's new to the school. Freddy's sort of showing her around, just got the riz. And she's sort of like, these superheroes, like, you're lying. And then they go and, they talk on the roof, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They talk on the roof, and they're like, "Oh, like blah blah blah. I'll call one of my superhero friends now." He goes off, turns into his Shazam form, comes down, and then the 2 other villains show up, and they're just like, "I chief, give me power," and they use the staff to take his power off him. Essentially,
so this is meant to be a big plot reveal as well. That Anne is actually the 3rd daughter of Atlas that has, as of yet in the movie, been unseen. And
yeah, and I love the way Billy is just like Anthea. And he just like assumes this new person in school is I do like that little reference.
For them, them consistently also calling him stupid in that movie, saying that he does not have the wisdom of Solomon. He works that one out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do love all the Solomon
based on absolutely nothing as well.
He just goes Anthea. I did find that a bit weird. I was like, all right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Wisdom of Solomon, or as they put it in the film, wisdom of Solo Man.
Solo Man. I believe he says the wisdom of Saruman at one point. We've made a joke about
Saruman the silly.
Saruman the wrinkly. Saruman the stupid.
There are a few jokes about that, and they're all really good. I do like that.
They are all pretty good.
And so what happens is the Shazam family start flying through.
Well, this is they steal Freddy's powers, and then
the Shazam family show up, right?
Yeah. Well, Shazam shows up on his own first.
Yes.
And then the family are behind him, but they're all there.
Yeah, they're all there. They want to save Freddy, and then the villains get away.
Yeah, the villains get away with Freddy.
They kidnap Freddy.
They kidnap Freddy.
And then Freddy's taken back to their realm, where I think you find out earlier, but the wizard is alive.
I was going to say that we kind of skipped over this, but the wizard is alive. The wizard helps so the first time we see the wizard, it's revealed he's alive. He's in the god realm. He's been captured. And
they make him put the staff back together.
Calypso and Hespera, they make him put the staff back together. And he scratches a splinter out of the staff. And I wanted to bring this up because the scene where he pulls it out of his fingernail is fucking dreadful.
Mate, like I said, this film is visceral because that splinter is long. Motherfucker pulled a chopstick out of his finger. My God.
Squirming in my fucking seat watching him pull that splinter out from under his fingernail.
Oh man, no. No.
But then he turns the splinter into dust, and he uses it to find the person who broke the staff, which ended up being Billy. And it's kind of a little funny scene where Billy's in a dream that he's on a date with Wonder Woman in Paris, and then it cuts to Wonder Woman's face, and it's just Digimon on Wonder Woman's body.
I fucking that scene, because everyone's taking that out of context. I saw that shot then afterwards out of context on Twitter. I'm like, bro, you don't know that shit's funny. When he
films are allowed to just films are just allowed to be goofy.
When they turned around and it was just Digimon Hans, I was like, that is comedy gold.
This is the thing I don't really understand. I think we're meant to assume that since He Who Shall Not Be Named made his DC projects, everyone seems to think that every superhero film should be super dark and super serious.
Yeah. But
there shouldn't be these moments of levity. But then when you see Digimon Honsu's face on Wonder Woman's body, it's fucking hilarious. Objectively fucking funny.
Yeah, that shit was... Oh, mate, because we thought, they're hiding the face because they couldn't get Gal Gadot. And then it turns around and Digimon Hans.
Yeah, and then it's hilarious.
Yeah, and that starts the trend as well during this film of Billy being obsessed with Wonder Woman. And all right, understandable. Have a nice day.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Yeah, so that starts that trend. But yeah, the wizard's alive. Freddy's like, "Oh my God, you're the wizard," and he starts going on about magic shit. But he's just like, "What the fuck are you on about, kid?" And he can't call Freddy the right name. What was it? Yeah. Freebie was one of them.
Freebie. Doesn't he call him Greg or Jeff at one point?
He calls him Jeff at one point, yeah. He's just it's not even close. But it's great. I love it because he just seems so indifferent towards him. He's like, why did Billy give you the powers? What the fuck? Bro. But they manage... How did they manage to escape?
Anthea lets them go.
Yeah, so they get put into the pit, don't they?
They get taken before the daughters because they want to know who the other. They want to interrogate who the people under, who the people behind the superheroes are.
Yeah,
So Calypso uses the power of chaos because they all have their own distinct powers to start interrogating. And we've seen like people like put up very little resistance to Calypso's power, like multiple times. Like the opening scene where she just seems to just make everyone go batshit. She makes the teacher in the school jump off the roof with no effort. But like my man Freddy built like fucking brick shit house. They barely squeeze one name out of him.
Yeah. They squeeze one name out of it, and he even managed to crack a joke during that time as well. So, you know, like the powerhouse, he's taken on Black Adam in just his regular form. The hierarchy of the DC universe has changed, and it's fucking Freddy.
But they get chucked in the pit.
Yes.
With the dragon. I can't.
That shot, man. That shot where they're both looking at the dragon and it's like from behind their backs. Man, there are some good shots in this film.
And this film actually looks really good.
Yeah, like some bits you can see, like, yeah, this is kind of green screeny, but there's a lot of shots in this. Like, damn, that's a good shot. That's really good. If I could screenshot this, I can't. I'm in a cinema, but if I could, I would.
I can't. Nicole Kidman will float from the ceiling, and she will chuck me out of the cinema if I even attempt to pull my phone out.
Yeah.
So, and then they're in the pit. They're about to get noshed on by the dragon, and then Anthea uses her powers to teleport them out to the pit,
and tells them go through this labyrinth.
Go through the labyrinth. There's a door in the middle. Escape.
Yeah. And then while this is happening, then they
Shazam family
to get him out.
Yeah, they wrote a letter, which also is very funny.
Yeah, because they have this sentient pen called Steve that just writes anything they say,
as you dictate to it.
Or answer any like questions you may have, like by stating what books to go to. And so they're like, right, we'll write a letter to them.
We don't see them do this, but the Daughters of Atlas receive the letter and they start to read it, and you can clearly see that the pen is just writing
what you say.
It is just stream of consciousness.
Yeah, it's no like if you say add an exclamation mark, it will just write add an exclamation
mark. Yeah,
and it's like basically just documenting their entire conversation while also saying that we want to negotiate and stuff like that.
It's really funny as well because they learn most of the names that they need to know from that letter because it refers to like them by their names and the pen just writes it down.
Also, there was a lot. It's just the delivery because Helen Mirren is reading it so deadpan that I'm just like, fucking Christ. And then there's a part in the letter where they say, "Do you want a Gatorade?" And they're like, "What is this Gatorade? It is a weapon." It's I don't know why that sort of stuff does just crack me up. It just feels better written than a lot of superhero films that we've had in terms of comedy.
So then this letter summons the daughters to Earthrealm.
Yes. So Billy meets with Hespera. And they're talking, and that's the scene in the trailer where you see it's all about family. They make the Fast and Furious reference, which that's probably why The Rock isn't in this. Because they made a Fast and Furious reference.
You flicked it out. As I asked whilst we were watching the film, why is he not in those? Because the trailer played before the film. Is it his beef with Tyrese, or is it his beef with Vin Diesel that stops him from being in those movies?
Yeah.
I started to realize that I don't think it's the other people's problems anymore. Because he beefs with like everyone.
Yeah, he seems to just anger everyone ever, including me. I'm angry now.
The hierarchy of the DC universe has changed. Ash is now in charge.
Yeah, I'm in charge now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have this meeting. A big fight breaks out. They're like, wah, wah, yeah. That's the really visceral thing because they're like bodying each other. Like they end up in like this underground like.
It's basically elder abuse.
Yeah, they literally. Oh my god! But like he does this move where he throws her against the ground, and then Mary picks her back up and does the exact same move to her. But then she gets back up and does the same thing to Billy, and you're like, what is going on? They're throwing people against walls, they're strangling people with like wires. It's insane. Like, it is really visceral. And I was like, God damn, like, you are literally throwing people at walls and they're making huge, massive like holes in walls or like indents in the wall where they've hit. It's great.
I've just realised we forgot to mention one thing. And this was back when they kidnapped Freddy. The Daughters of Atlas put a big dome in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, they do. They put a big dome over Philadelphia, and I say that is a good thing.
I think my exact statement, I think, when watching the film was, Philadelphia is cut off from the rest of the world, as it should be. Remember when they did the Hitchbot thing? Because I made this joke when we were watching it as well. Like, they sent Hitchbot through Canada. So Hitchbot, for anyone that doesn't know, was a robot. It was a project to see how friendly people are. So it was a hitchhiking robot, and they let it loose in Canada, and it hitchhiked the entire length of the country. And then they did the same thing in the US, and I believe Hitchbot actually started in Philadelphia. Hitchbot never left Philadelphia. Hitchbot was stabbed, he was beaten, he was shot. Hitchbot was a robot. Hitchbot wasn't even a real person. And the population of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, everyone.
Yeah. So they put a dome around Hesper controls the dome, and so that's an important thing. Thank you for that.
That is an important thing.
This happens. They capture Hesper, but then Hesper escapes and manages to use one of the doors in their room of many doors to get back to the labyrinth.
It's important to say, actually, that Hesper wanted to be captured by the Shazam family.
Yeah, it's the classic move of a villain wants to be caught.
Because the seed of the Tree of Life, which we mentioned, was the big Doomsday MacGuffin in this movie. The wizard said it was hidden somewhere that the Daughters of Atlas couldn't get to. Turns out it was hidden at the Rock of Eternity.
Yep. So she grabs that from there.
She grabs that from there, and she goes out of the door pretty much just as Freddy and the wizard find it.
Yeah, they hide, and then the wizard is like, we need to go back, we need to get that apple. Or what she was on, and Freddy's like, it's an apple, she's just hungry, and you're like, fucking Freddy, come on.
Listen to the wizard.
Yeah, listen to the wizard. And then there's what happens then is the Shazam family find the door to the labyrinth, and they go through there basically. But before this, Freddy goes on stealth mode because the wizard's knees creak, and you can hear it. And I loved the actual attention to detail because you can hear his knees creak when he moves, and it's really good. So he can't do the little stealth thing to get the apple and sneak behind them and get it. So Freddy has to do it. The kid with a crutch has to go on this stealth mission, and he's doing all these stealth rolls. And
it's really funny because it's the fact that he actually does it as well, like, for the most part.
Yeah, and he's the one who like offers himself to do it as well. He's like, I'm gonna do it.
He's like the real MVP of this movie.
Yeah,
to be fair.
But then he knocks something over, and then
they all see him.
And then he's like, oh no, he's got the apple, but he's like, oh no, blah blah blah. And then there's one joke where Shazam is like, there's a flaming violin at the Rock of Eternity. Why is it here? We don't know what it is. And there's at that moment in time, they turn and just see this flaming violin.
It's Calypso just turns and she looks at it, and there's the flaming violin, and she goes, "What is that?" And you just hear like Billy's like disembodied voice is like, "We don't know either, but we made you look."
Yeah, they get the staff. They all like turn. They get Freddy back as Shazam, and then the dragon chases them. Then the big dragon chases them out. And then there's always this bickering then between the Daughters of Atlas. Lucy Liu's character, who is Calypso, yeah? Calypso.
Yes. Lucy Liu was Calypso.
Yeah, she wants to basically plant that apple in the human world.
In the human world.
Yeah, and if that happens, it releases all a bunch of monsters and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like the other girl's like, no, maybe we shouldn't do this. This is not a good idea.
Hesper is kind of like on the fence about it.
Yeah.
She's leaning towards not doing it, and then Anthea's like, no, this isn't what we wanted to do. We just wanted to restore the God realm and make it all pretty again.
Yeah, and then like they're arguing and stuff, but then they chase him down with a dragon,
and
they burst through the Billy Batson's house. I don't know what the actual the Shazam family house we're gonna call it.
The dad is called Victor. I know that.
Yeah, which reveals to the parents that like they come in, they're in their Shazam forms. They're like, they reveal that they're the what are they called, the Philadelphia Fiascos.
Yes, that is
that is the official name by the people of Philadelphia that they've given to the Shazam family. And every time they bring it up, it's like, we're not acknowledging that name.
I think they say like, by acknowledging the name, it isn't an official endorsement.
Yeah, but they do that, so they run. What happens then? I think Mary flies off with the apple, doesn't she, to try and get away from the dragon. She gets turned back to normal Mary, using the staff, and Billy saves her instead of getting the apple.
Yeah, because she drops the apple, she's falling. And Lucy Liu on the dragon gets the apple then.
Yeah, and then she plants the apple in the human world, and it is carnage. Absolute carnage. This is the point where I think all the bodying of innocent people really comes to a head.
She specifically plants the apple in the Citizens Bank Park, which is it's a baseball stadium in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and she kills Hesper when she does it as well.
She doesn't kill Hesper immediately.
She stabs Hesper.
The dragon mortally wounds Hesper.
Yeah.
So yeah, she plants the tree. The tree grows. It grows a bunch of roots out, which have like little pods in them, which then release monsters from Greek mythology.
And the monster designs really good.
Creature design is really good. So we get a Cyclops. I really appreciated that the Cyclops had the fairy legs.
Yeah,
it's not something
good stuff.
We had a Minotaur. We had some harpies.
Did we have a chimera?
We did have a chimera. No, we had a manticore.
A manticore, sorry. Yes, that's the one who, when I say there's this woman who survives this whole ordeal, she's running from the brutes.
She's running from the brutes as they grow, and then like they do that thing where she's like backed up against something and they're like growing towards her, and they stop just before they like impale her. Yeah. This is just some random background character now. And then it cuts to the next scene where it shows the monsters hatching and the manticore hatches. And she's just stood there. The manticore hatches behind her. It fucking stabs her in the back.
It lifts her off.
So like, it goes through the effort of showing this woman survive for the next scene for her to just be fucking dead immediately.
Yeah. That's...
that's that. And then because most of the Shazam family don't have their powers,
except for Billy now. I think Billy's the only one.
Yeah, Billy is the only one. Yes, they've all.
Billy fights the dragon for a bit, and he makes the realization that the staff actually is like a battery, and it
harnessing. His energy.
It takes in his power when he's using his lightning powers and things like that.
Also, before we move on, we get a little cameo as he's fighting the dragon from a man called Michael Gray. Michael Gray is famous, I believe, for playing. I believe he plays Billy in the it's a long time ago, the 1970s Shazam TV series.
Was it called Captain Marvel back then? Because they probably would still call him Captain Marvel.
Probably was called Captain Marvel.
Yeah, because there's the civilians. There's a group of civilians. They start saying his name, like Thundercrack, which I still think is a fucking fantastic name. And then there's you see him, and he says,
"Captain Marvel." I'm surprised they got some kind of green light to even acknowledge that.
Yeah, they call him Captain Marvel, which is insane.
It's one of two Marvel jokes that they get away with that I'm absolutely shocked that they get away with.
What was the other one?
It's in the post-credit scene.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
But yeah.
So
Where were
yeah,
we? So he's
that
fought the
was
dragon.
crazy.
It was. So he's fought the dragon. He's realized that he has to charge up the staff with lightning to basically turn it into a bomb to kill the dragon and save everyone.
And do you want to describe what I can only describe as the most insane bit of cinema I've seen in a while?
Are we talking about the climax?
No, we're talking about the unicorns, mate.
Oh, the unicorns, yeah. So, because they're in the van trying to work out how to defeat the monsters. So they ask Steve the Pen. Steve the Pen writes down the King of Beasts.
Yes.
So Dishmon Honsu's wizard. Then he goes on to explain that the King of Beasts is the unicorn. And what's her name? Is it? Oh, Darla? Is that's the youngest child's name, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
So Darla has expressed an interest in unicorns earlier on in this movie, and she's like really excited. And then Dishmon Honsu goes on to basically say that unicorns are like these terrifying creatures in real life. And oh my god, when they're revealed, that is like actually the stuff of like.
Yeah.
They're all like black and like spiky, and they have like ethereal like green eyes.
Yeah, and the first time you see them, they're in a car park, a multi-story car park.
And it's like been like corrupted to be like their lair.
Yeah.
And like we're told that the only way to tame a unicorn is with ambrosia, which is the nectar of the gods.
Which is sweet, like honey.
This is something that Ash predicted before, because it's sort of something that's hinted towards earlier in the movie with Darla as well. But before it even gets to the scene, it's something that Ash predicted. And oh my god, it is the craziest cinematic moment I think I've ever experienced, watching like this unicorn just charge at like this small child, and she just reaches into her pocket and in slow motion she just fucking flings some Skittles at a unicorn.
It was the best and most weirdest moment I think I've ever seen. It was incredible. Just seeing this hell unicorn just stop and eat some Skittles.
Yeah.
And yeah,
so surreal. I think it was great. So then basically like they lead like a mounted attack on unicorns, the Shazam family that have no powers.
Yeah.
Lead a mounted attack on some unicorns to round up the monsters.
Yeah. And then we get to the big moment.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's nothing else that really substantially happens between. Billy is told that if he blows up the staff, that it will pretty much destroy everything within the dome, and at that point, the dome encompasses all of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So he goes to find the dying Hespera, which is pretty funny when he like starts to like use his powers to like defibrillate her.
And she's like, "Let me go to the underworld in peace."
Yeah, that was it. But he basically explains to her that he's going to do it as a bomb. I don't think he outright tells her to shrink the dome, but I think she infers from it that she needs to shrink the dome to just encompass the stadium that the tree is in, and Calypso on the dragon then. Which he then does. Billy lures the dragon and Calypso to the stadium by the tree. Hesper shrinks the dome, so the dome just includes Citizen Park. The dragon flies over to the building that Hesper is on, which is just outside the dome. And like whilst it's occupied with that, Billy gives like this really like emotional goodbye to like Freddy. And like this film like knew when to be funny and when to be serious.
Yeah, because there were no jokes in that moment at all.
No,
it was literally it. I think the bit that did hit was the part where he calls himself Captain Every Power Junior.
Mm-hmm.
When he asks, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "I'm Captain Every Power Junior." You're like,
damn.
It's sad.
It then probably leads to like one of like the hardest like climaxes in a superhero movie I've seen.
Yeah.
So like Billy starts like fucking lightning about and like it's bouncing off like the surface of the dome. So it's like creating like basically like a supercharger in the dome, and he keeps like absorbing it into the staff.
Yeah.
Like, there are some shots where he's just like beating the shit out of this dragon.
Yeah, there are some slow motion shots where he like uppercuts the dragon and it like freezes. You see all the lightning going past, and it's beautiful. It is so good.
And I have been a critic of slow motion in superhero movies before, particularly by one man. But no, this film went hard.
It did, because I think the difference between slow motion then and slow motion in this is it didn't use slow motion that much in this film.
No,
like it used it for the unicorn scene, and then it used it then in that final battle.
And this all sort of culminates then in Billy, sort of very reminiscent of Superman charging at Doomsday.
Yeah,
with the staff charging at this dragon as the dragon sort of breathes fire at him.
Yeah,
he ducks out of it, and he flies up into the dragon, and he shouts the titular word Shazam,
and then bang,
bang. The tree is gone. Citizen Park Stadium is leveled. Dragon dead. Calypso dead. Hesper dead. All monsters gone. Philadelphia saved.
It's quite sad what happens next again. So the Shazam family find Billy. He's no longer in the Shazam form. He's in Billy form, and he's fucked up, man. Like you can see all like these like burns and stuff on him. And Fred.
That's like the first thing I said is like Freddy's like trying to like shake him awake and like say this is the bit where you're like having a joke and you just get up and you're okay. And this kid looks like fucked up.
Yeah, and I'm just like damn, because then just Freddy just bursts into tears and just like puts his head on like Billy's chest and you're like, no, they can't do this.
Yeah, for that very short period of time, Billy Batson / Shazam is dead.
Yeah. And it was emotional stuff. I will say, like that was again when this film hit hard. It hit hard. It really did. But then they decide, because of what Billy did and because Billy was Shazam, they will bury him in the realm of the gods because of what he did.
This is kind of like the epilogue of the film.
Yeah, and
it's like a little funeral for Billy.
Yeah, so they buried him. And then they're like, you can't bring him back to the Wisdom. The Wisdom's like, the staff is drained.
Staff's depleted, and it can only be recharged with the power of a god, and there are no gods now.
And then
we get this film.
It's the stage left. and
I don't say that in jest. That is legitimately the musical sting they used to introduce her. They used the BVS musical sting to introduce Wonder Woman, a cameo that was pretty much reported on that was in this film.
Yeah, which was annoying because she was literally in a TV spot, and David F. Sandberg was not told that this was going to happen. That it was in a TV spot, and yeah, why would they do that? I don't understand.
A lot of the marketing for this movie really hurt it.
It was ass. But yeah, that bit, it didn't need to do that, but it did. It's fantastic.
So she recharges the staff, and she brings Billy back to life. And,
yeah.
He, in his Shazam form, raises his hand out the grave, and everyone starts fucking freaking out.
Thinking he's a zombie.
And he's like really like perturbed by the fact that they fucking like buried him. Like
he's like, it was only 2 minutes and you guys buried me.
And then he realizes that Wonder Woman is there, and as we touched on, he's had like an obsession with Wonder Woman.
And then he starts hitting on Wonder Woman. It doesn't really work out. There's a comment made about how the kids in the family, it seemed to just like older women because of Wonder Woman and Anthea, which Freddy's.
I think I referred to it as a live action lolly situation.
Yeah.
Where she's a child, but she's actually 6,000 years old.
Yeah. So there's that joke, and then Wonder Woman's says about keep saving the world and stuff.
Stick to saving the world, kid.
Yeah. And and then it's a nice wholesome moment of
family dinner.
All of them having family dinner. Anthea's there as well, and then we get a knock on the door.
Well, there's a cross stitch on the wall that says
On the Shazamming in the house, isn't it?
Shazamming in the house, yeah. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's
a rock.
I think that's the joke that you made. The Rock has come to just beat the shit out of them. But no, who's actually at the door? It's the Wizard, but he's not in his robes with his stupid beard now. Motherfucker's got drip.
They have. When he walked in, we were like, damn.
Damn, he got drip.
Yeah.
But he's just come back to collect the staff. And it all wraps up pretty nicely.
Yeah. And they say, what is our superhero name? You've never told us what it should be. And he's like, isn't it obvious? It's Shazam. And they're all like, oh. And then Freddy says, we can do better. And that's it.
That's it.
And there are two post-credit scenes in this. I'll talk about the second one first. I think that's a good place to start. It's
the one we have the least to say about.
Yeah, it's
pretty much identical to the post-credit from the first scene. Except he looks a bit cooler, I'd say.
Yeah. They got Mark Strong back. I was very surprised.
They did get Mark Strong back.
Yeah.
So the second post-credit scene it's the prison cell with Dr. Savannah from the first movie. And he has just a little conversation with Mr. Mind.
Yeah.
Who, for anyone that doesn't know, is a sentient talking caterpillar.
Yeah. I love it.
I don't know much about Mr. Mind.
No, I don't, but I just find the idea of the character super fun. But it's basically just a rehash, just saying, what's the plan? He's like, I have one more thing to do, and just crawls off. And it's just, Mark Strong complaining about how long he's been taking.
Pretty much.
But then the real big one is the first post-credit scene. Mm-hmm. So I will let you describe this, and then you can ask your questions about what the fuck happened.
The thing I immediately said with the first post-credit scene was, this feels like it was written by James Gunn. Because it is we are introduced to two characters that we've seen before, John Economos and I can't remember her name.
Amelia Harcourt.
That's it, Amelia Harcourt, from Team Peacemaker.
Yeah,
I will refer to them as Team Peacemaker, but as from what is Task Force X? Is that probably?
Yeah.
So they are walking through the forest and they are going to see someone. So it gets to who they're talking to, and they're talking to Shazam, it turned out. Yeah. So they have come to recruit Shazam. And Shazam is really excited. He thinks he's being recruited for the Justice League. His big thing is that he wants to be on the same team as Wonder Woman. And no, he's being recruited for the Justice Society. That's right.
Yes, it is the Justice Society, and he gets really thinking, like, why do you have two unaffiliated groups with the name Justice in their name? And then he starts looking through different possibilities they can have for their names, and he comes across one, and he's like, Avengers Society. I like that for some reason.
That's the second full joke.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
Ask your questions. I know you had questions about this post-credit scene.
Well, I didn't have questions until you said, I know what went on with this post-credit scene, behind the scenes. And I went, oh, what happened? And you went, no, I'm going to save it for the podcast. And I have sat for the last, let's have a look, it's probably 4 days I have waited to hear this story now. I've deliberately not looked it up. I haven't, spoiled it or anything. So Ashley, my question to you is, what happened behind the scenes with this post-credit scene?
Okay, so you know about the whole thing with The Rock and not letting Zachary Levi show up in his movie Black Adam in a post-credit scene.
Yes.
He didn't allow that, and obviously I would be pissed if I was Zachary Levi too. Like, what the fuck? You were my villain. Why am I not showing up? Because basically what The Rock wanted to do was remake the DCEU, but centered around his Black Adam and Henry Cavill's Superman. That fucking did well, didn't it?
Which I will preface by saying is a really weird.
But now
with DC.
There is an interesting other thing that he has done. So The Rock was a pretty big producer on a little-known movie as Black Adam, as we have been bringing up. So what happened was the post-credit scene was supposed to be two members of the Justice Society. It was supposed to be Hawkman, and there was another member.
Oh, I think I know kind of what you're talking about now.
They were supposed to show up. So what happened?
I do know what you're talking about. I didn't know that was this.
Yeah, 3 days before they were set to shoot this post-credit scene, The Rock said, "No, you're not having them. They're not showing up." And because he was a producer on Black Adam, he was allowed to do that 3 days before shooting. So what Peter Safran, who was a producer at the time and now is big boy, he had to get Jennifer Holland and Steve Agee as their characters from Peacemaker and Suicide Squad last minute to show up to do that moment. So basically, that moment feels so weird because it was such a last minute thing. Like, what? Why? Why are you such a dick that you have to go, "No, I'm not letting those characters in your movie"? No. What?
What? Why are you such a child?
It is childish behavior, and like, there's a lot of things on Twitter of like people saying, "Oh, James Gunn's won his wife and everything." But the thing is, this film was supposed to come out in December. This film would have been picture locked probably before James took over, and they filmed this before James came in.
I do really like James Gunn as one of the co-studio heads at DC, because he's been very vocal about everything he's doing. He's shooting down rumors that people just sort of make up. Cough, cough, Grace Randolph, cough, cough.
And those rumors are something else.
And he's responded to people saying, "Oh, you just cast your wife and everything," and he's saying, "I have cast my wife in one project, and that was Suicide Squad.
Yep.
And she has then been cast in every single other project that she is in by somebody else."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because the thing is with Peacemaker as well, if you're just bringing the other characters that were in Suicide Squad,
makes sense.
Why do you need to recast them? But it's so I think James Gunn's getting a lot of flack for this when it shouldn't be James Gunn.
No.
And it's mad. 3 days before they were meant to shoot that scene.
That's shocking.
It is absolutely abysmal behaviour.
I'm glad that his DCEU is firmly in the bin.
Yeah.
I'm glad, and I will say this outright. I was a bit bummed when Cavill was dropped.
Yeah.
But now going forward, I have been enthusiastic for what's going to happen. And this is sort of a wider point than Shazam now. I'm enthusiastic for it. Yeah.
So that is our thoughts on Shazam. It may have been a bit long-winded. We went through the whole film. Well, we'll probably work out ways for reviews to maybe streamline them next time. But those were our thoughts on the film. We really enjoyed it. Well, I know I did.
I did think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it had moments where obviously you're like, that's okay, and a few things.
But at
the end of the day, it was a fun time. I think I've gone through that stage where I went through like being really cynical about films and like, this must be art, this must be this, and I just forgot to have fun with films. Just these things, they are entertainment, and if you're enjoying a film, that's good. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Have fun with stuff.
Yep, you can just enjoy things.
Yeah.
Wow, who knew? Who knew you didn't have to be a permanent hater for everything, and you can just enjoy the things that you spend money to go and watch?
Yeah. I mean, I had fun with it. A lot of fun with it.
I had fun with it too.
Yeah.
I think it was very good.
And that's our thoughts on Shazam.
Yeah. And I believe that brings us to the end of our first episode.
Yeah, of something simple, which didn't seem very simple because, but, the way, if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to hear or how you think we can improve this, then let us know.
Yeah,
we love all the feedback. I love you to tell me that my face is stupid, because I know you're lying, because you can't see my face, so joke's on you.
Even if it's going to be negative feedback.
Yeah, all feedback is feedback.
Maybe keep it. Don't try and be too mean.
Yeah. Please make it constructive and not.
We are humans at the other end of the voice at the end of the day. So
we're not one of those AI TikToks.
I'm not those weird AI videos that one dude made for all of the characters in the Justice League about sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, but then like it was really inconsistent because they used like Grant Gustin for the Flash, and some of the characters just weren't the actors as well.
Yeah, they just weren't them. But any feedback, we'd love to hear it. We want to thank all of you for listening, and if any of you stuck around, thank you again. I know it's a bit of a change, but it's a learning experience. We're all in this together. We are. In the words of Troy Bolton, my hero.
So anyone who listened to the last run, anyone who's returned now, you've seen that we're back and decided, oh, I like those guys. Let's give them another chance. Anyone who's come back, thank you. Anyone new, welcome to the less than simple. It is something simple, but it's certainly less than simple. Oh my God. But welcome. You're in for one sweet ride, I can tell you that.
But so this has been the Something Simple podcast. You can check us out on YouTube, which is Something Simple Pod, on Twitter, Something Simps. Just check us out. We tweet. We put the video versions of this up there. They're not ridiculously edited video versions, but you'll get maybe some context or like images that we talk about.
If we can, well, if you can be bothered because you edit, you'll peek behind the curtain there.
Yeah, I'm editor.
He's the editor. I'm social media.
And
yeah.
But so thank you all again for listening. I've been the Bubsy 3D.
I've been the Chex Quest HD remake for the Nintendo Switch.
And stay simple.
Stay simple. Welcome back to the official Bubsy 3D podcast. I'm your host. Welcome to episode 1 of the official Bubsy 3D podcast. I'm your host, Bubsy.
Because we all know we'll have fuck tons to talk about with the Bubsy 3D podcast.
A game that I don't even think I was born when it came out.
I don't think I was even. Did Bubsy 3D?
It was around the same time as Super Mario 64, if I recall.
Has Bubsy ever had a 3D outing after that point?
I don't think so. Bubsy 3D. I'm Googling this now. This is
the fact that I know more about Conker than Bubsy is like.
So North America was November 25th, 1996, and Europe was August 13th, 1997. So no, I was not born.
Neither of us.
Welcome back to the official Chex Quest.
Okay.
I've never eaten a box of Chex in my life because it's not a British cereal. That was also 1996. I'm really on one today.
You are?
Initial release May 18th, 20. I don't think that's true. I'll ask for the Nintendo Switch. 23.
The Switch port.
Wait, there's a Switch port of Chex Quest.